The storm roared outside, throwing shadows across the marble floors of the Hale mansion. Inside the dimly lit study, billionaire Adrian Hale lay still on the long leather couch, eyes closed, pretending to sleep. A file lay open beside him. His phone dropped on the carpet as if he had dozed off mid-work. But Adrian wasn't asleep. He was waiting. Waiting for the girl his staff whispered about. The maid's daughter who supposedly tiptoed into his study at night. Drawers slightly moved. Pens misplaced. Books shifted. Not enough to accuse, but enough to investigate. And Adrian, a man who built an empire by trusting no one, decided to test her himself. When the old clock's hand struck midnight, the door creaked. Someone slipped inside. Silent feet, careful breathing, a soft gasp, then a whisper. "Mr. Hale?" It was Arya, the maid's 19-year-old daughter. Quiet, polite, always with her books in her hands. Adrian had barely spoken to her. She kept to herself. But why was she here? He didn't move, waiting to see her true intentions. What she did next shattered every assumption he had. Arya didn't walk toward his desk. She rushed toward him. Her hands trembled as she knelt beside the couch. "Sir, you shouldn't sleep like this," she whispered. "You'll hurt your back again." Back? Adrian was stunned. How did she know he had an old injury? Carefully, so gently, he almost broke character. She lifted a blanket she had brought with her. She spread it over him, brushing dust from his shoulders. Then she noticed the fallen phone and picked it up. She didn't check it, didn't unlock it, didn't steal or pry. She placed it neatly on the table. Then she did something that made Adrian's breath catch. She took out a small bottle of herbal pain spray from her backpack and sprayed it lightly on his lower back, whispering, "Mom said billionaires are just people too. They get tired, hurt, stressed. I wish someone would take care of you." Adrian felt a sting behind his eyelids. No one had spoken to him with such softness in years. When she leaned back, he felt her hand trembling. "Please get better. We all depend on you," she whispered. Then she stood and quietly walked toward the bookshelf. Adrian almost sat up. Was this the moment she'd steal something? But no. She pulled out a thick business book, opened a page, and began copying notes into her small notebook, using her own pen. She wasn't stealing. She was learning, trying to educate herself in secret because she couldn't afford school. That Adrian's heart tightened. He had misjudged her completely. The next night, Adrian repeated the act, pretending to sleep. And again, Arya came. This time, she didn't notice he was awake beneath his closed eyelids, utterly shaken by what she revealed in whispers to herself. "Mom works so hard. I'll learn business, accounting, anything. I'll give her a better life." Adrian listened to every word. She spent her nights studying from books she couldn't borrow because she was too shy to ask, afraid of being seen as a burden, afraid someone would assume she was trying to take advantage. That Arya's mother, Rosa, had worked for Adrian for 10 years. Loyal, honorable, a woman who never asked him for a single favor. Arya, it seemed, was the same. She wasn't sneaking in to steal. She was sneaking in to become someone. A girl fighting for a future without disturbing anyone. Adrian felt something shift inside him, something he hadn't felt for years. Respect, admiration, guilt that he needed to know more. On the third night, Adrian didn't pretend to sleep. When Arya opened the door, he sat up. She froze, eyes wide, notebook dropping from her hands. "Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I wasn't stealing. I didn't mean. Please don't fire my mom." Her voice cracked. She backed away, shaking violently with fear. Adrian gently raised a hand. "Arya," he said softly, "come here." She didn't move. "You're not in trouble," he added. "I just want to understand." She looked down, tears falling silently. "I just wanted to study. I don't have books. I didn't want to disturb you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Adrian felt his chest tighten painfully. "Why didn't you ask for help?" Her answer broke him. "People like me don't get to ask people like you for anything." For a moment, neither spoke. Then Adrian stood and approached slowly, placing her notebook back in her hands. "You're wrong," he said quietly. "From now on, you can ask me for anything you need." Arya expected to be punished. Instead, Adrian offered her something unimaginable. "Come to my office tomorrow," he said. "I want to see what you've been studying." The next day, she arrived nervously, and Adrian was stunned at what he discovered. Her notes were meticulous. Her understanding of business concepts was advanced. Her questions were insightful. She wasn't just studying. She was gifted, and so, Adrian made a decision that surprised even himself. "I want to sponsor your college education." Arya gasped, covering her mouth. "Sir, no, I can't let you. You're not taking anything," he said firmly. "You earned this." But Arya insisted. "I'll accept only if I can work for it, as your assistant or apprentice." Adrian smiled for the first time in a long while. "Then welcome to the company, Arya." Working in a billionaire's office wasn't easy. Arya faced jealousy from co-workers. Rumors spread quickly. The maid's daughter must be using the boss. But she ignored them. She worked harder than anyone. Long hours. Tight deadlines. Zero mistakes. But the biggest challenge wasn't her work. It was Adrian himself. That he was strict, calculating, emotionally distant. Years of betrayal and corporate battles had hardened him. But Arya's presence slowly softened his walls. She brought him herbal tea when he skipped meals. She reminded him to rest. She listened when he muttered frustrations. No one had ever cared like that. And slowly, painfully, Adrian began to heal. One evening, Arya found Adrian sitting alone in the dark, his head in his hands. Another betrayal. Another business partner gone greedy. He didn't notice her until she placed a blanket over his shoulders. "You deserve to rest," she whispered. Adrian's voice cracked for the first time. "I don't know who to trust anymore." Arya knelt beside him. "You can trust me." He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time in years, he believed someone. Months passed. Arya rose from assistant to analyst to junior manager. She impressed investors. She solved problems no one else could. She became the heartbeat of Adrian's company. And Rosa, her mother, watched with pride she couldn't express in words. But the greatest change was in Adrian. That he no longer lived in cold silence. He laughed sometimes. That he smiled. He talked to people like they mattered. Because one girl, one brave, kind, hard-working girl, changed him. And it all began the night he pretended to sleep. During the company's annual dinner, Adrian walked onto the stage. "I want to introduce someone," he announced. Arya froze in shock as Adrian gestured for her to stand beside him. "This young woman," he continued, "snuck into my study months ago. Not to steal, but to learn, to grow, to give her mother a better life." Gasps rippled through the audience. Adrian smiled and placed a supportive hand on her shoulder. "She inspired me to be a better man. And today, I'm proud to announce her as the new head of our scholarship and talent division." Tears streamed down Arya's face. The crowd erupted in applause. Years later, Arya created a program that helped hundreds of underprivileged youth get educations they only dreamed of. Adrian? He became a man known not just for his wealth, but for his humanity, because the maid's daughter taught him the most expensive lesson in the world. Kindness changes everything. And it always starts with one brave heart. Call to action for your channel Sparkles if you love this story. Tell me in the comments what touched your heart the most. Your words mean the world, and they help this channel grow. Thumbs up, don't forget to like, subscribe, and Esicharito support. Be kind always. Red Heart, your kindness keeps this storytelling alive.